Good day, folks. Welcome to the MB Wildman channel. On today's video, I'm going to show you real quick some of the different uses that I have for some of the byproducts, or some, I guess, what's left over, you know, after I skin and flesh an animal. So if you're anything like me, you know, it's mid-December and you've got your deer season done with here in New Brunswick, and I was fortunate enough to take a nice deer and got that all done with, and now I got some traps out, and Elliot and I have been running the line, you know, catching quite a few raccoons, some fishers, some bobcats, you know, a couple coyotes. A little early yet for coyotes here, but anyway, so if you're anything like me and you've got your fleshing beam has been, you know, right out straight, you've been fleshing and getting some fur up on the racks, which is great. But what you're left over with, or what I'm always left over with, is this big pail of fat. Most of this is raccoon. Because, you know, you catch December raccoons and they are literally an inch thick of fat. So what do we do with all that stuff? You know, I mean, I guess you can just throw it away, but as a responsible trapper and as someone that wants to utilize as much of their catch as possible, there's some great things that can be done with that excess fat from your fleshing beam. So just a couple quick things. I'm going to do a couple videos on how to use that and some different things you can do with it. Listen, if you haven't yet subscribed to the MB Wildman channel, we sure would appreciate it. It doesn't cost anything. Just go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you like the content, you want to get notified when we upload new stuff, just go ahead and hit that bell down there, and you'll get some type of email message or some type of alert, I don't know, whenever we upload some new content. So today I want to talk real quick about just a couple things. First of all, one of the main things that guys can do, or that people can do, with their excess raccoon fat, or their, you know, when they're processing and they're fleshing, is they'll toss it in the fire, right? So they'll mix it with their firewood. If you heat your skinning shed with, you know, a wood stove, fat does burn great. It burns really, really hot. So don't jam your stove right full of it. But you can burn your excess fat. That is one way to utilize it. It's not the best way, I don't think, but it is a way. Anyway, on this video, I want to show you how you make suet, bird feed with it. It's really great. Birds absolutely love it. If you've ever noticed, I don't know, here I have kind of like a carcass pile, like where I dump the bodies and stuff of raccoons after I've fleshed them. And the little bits of fat that are still left on the raccoon, every time I go back, there's little chickadees, there's little birds are pecking away at the fat on the body. They really love it, and they need the extra energy and the extra nutrition that this provides over the wintertime especially. So for the suet part, I like to use the nice hard white fat like this, that's on the side or sometimes on the back like this. A little bit of red doesn't hurt, a little bit of meat in it doesn't hurt, but I like to glean this right here, this nice thick white chunky fat when I'm going to do the bird suet. That's the part that I'm taking out. There's a bunch of different ways that you can do this, and you can Google it, and they'll tell you everything from that you have to melt it down and all kinds of stuff, but you really don't. This is pretty simple, quick and easy way if you want to help out the birds and whatnot. You don't need to do anything complicated. So you just take as much as you want, and you don't have to trim it. Like, there's a little tiny bit of meat on a couple pieces here. You don't have to be too particular about trimming that stuff up. It really doesn't matter. You also don't have to grind it, and you don't have to melt it. The birds really don't care. This is really, once you handle it for a little bit, it gets kind of soft like Play-Doh. You can squish it and move it around. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. You've all dealt with fat from your animals, right? What I like to mix into it is I like to take some peanuts. These are just chopped ground peanuts. Okay, so I buy them at the feed store in whole shells. And then I just run them through my chippy chopper, right in my food processor, and then you get little peanut chunks. Okay, so all I do is I just start to mix that in and kind of grind it around. Just kind of push it and squish it, you know, all that stuff. The other thing that you can use in here, you can use anything. You can use cracked corn in here. You can use sunflower seeds in here. You can buy bird seed. It doesn't make any difference what you use as long as birds will eat it. And you just want to like really push it and pressure it and squish it into the inside. Just keep working this around. Now, if you got all kinds of time and you want to do it, you can actually render this fat down. You can melt it down and then mix this stuff in and then re-harden it. But it's not really necessary to do. The birds are going to eat this. They're going to love it. They're going to soak this stuff right up. Okay, they're going to absolutely love it. So once you mix this in, and again, you can mix in whatever you want. I've got some laybirds, so sometimes I take a little bit of, you know, bird food from the actual chickens, mix it in as well. Anything will do. What you don't want, one of the things you don't want is you don't want it to be mostly fat. They will eat the fat, but you want to mix in some seed and some other things with it, just so that they get some other protein and some other, you know, nutrients and whatever besides just the fat. Although they will eat just the fat. You could just roll up this fat and put it out and they'd eat it. But it's good to mix some other stuff in with it just to give them that. So once you've done this, you just really ground it around some, kind of break it up, mix it up, make sure that the seed is sticking in the fat and all of that. Then all I do is I pick it out and I break it apart a little bit, and I make it squish it into like balls. Okay, just literally make balls of fat and bird seed, just about like that. And then if there's any extra bird seed in my bowl, I roll it around like this. Okay, roll it around, roll it around, roll it around. Again, give it another good squeeze, just like that. And then you take that one and you set that in the fridge or freezer. Not freezer, set that in the fridge so that the fat gets good and hard again. Because as you work with it like this with your hands, even the warmth of your hands will warm it up. You know, because that's what you want. You want to be able to work with it and squish it around. But when you put it out for the birds, it helps if it's harder, because that way it lasts longer for the birds and they can just peck little pieces of it. You don't want it rock solid. And for me, I'm putting this out almost exclusively in the wintertime. So it gets good and hard anyway. But the beautiful thing about fat is even if it's frozen, the birds can still pick and get little pieces of it. So you're just going to make little suet balls just like that out of your excess raccoon fat, and the birds absolutely love it. So anyway, just a little quick tip, you know, a way to use more of that animal that you've harvested. I think it's our responsibility as trappers to use as much as we can of the animals that we harvest. So anyway, listen, hope this is something to help you out, and hope this is a little tip that you can use to use up some of your excess raccoon fat. So until next time, happy hunting from the MD Wildman channel.